Hi Aries, this is your November 2024 soul story. If you've got a sun, rising or moon in the sign, this is your reading for the month ahead. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me on the channel. It's Romy here. We're opening up with the Page of Swords. I think there is definitely an intense experience through the course of this month where you have to act quite quickly and quite decisively. You're not going to necessarily feel ready. There may even be a part of you that wonders, you know, have I done all of the preparation? But you know what? There's nothing but preparation that has taken place, whether you're really consciously aware of it or not, that has led you to this moment. And I think if you can hold true for the entirety of November that, you know, you're going to have the courage of your conviction, and regardless of what you might see and what might be coming at you, just hold steady and hold true to what you know within yourself is the right thing. And I think there are going to be some decisive conversations that take place, so don't lose sight of what is important to you. I kind of want to say to you, like, keep your eyes on the prize. Like, that feels a necessary phrase for November. Now, we have two powerful new moons this month. The first sees the new moon in Scorpio at 9 degrees, and then we close out November with a new moon in Sagittarius. This time of year, I always say it's like, you know, we zone right in and then we zone right out with Sagittarius. And it can be super helpful because we can, you know, identify the details and get really kind of forensic and focused and intent on, you know, the things that we need to prioritize and what matters. And then we can make sense of where that fits in the bigger picture. Right, so the new moon at the beginning of November sees a critical conversation, an important discussion that seems necessary for you to say how you feel, say what you want, and kind of really have that open exchange. Mercury's in Sagittarius from the 2nd, so it kind of gives you that very direct, almost, you know, at times blunt way of being able to communicate and just kind of call it as it is. I think in some instances you're going to say what they're already thinking early on in November, Aries. The third sees asteroid goddess Juno arriving in Scorpio, and here we can forge really powerful and, you know, kind of remarkable, unbreakable bonds actually during her time working with this energy. And that might matter, you know, you may well need where you're heading and with what happens next to know the people that you can count on, to know the support system that you have in place. Now, the same day we see Mars in Leo, which is, by the way, now in its shadow energy ahead of retrograde next month, opposing Pluto, and we also see Venus opposing Jupiter. So there's tension and there's friction created here. We've got Malika, Queen of Coins. So whether it's with somebody that is connected perhaps from a work capacity for you, or indeed, you know, you feeling into, I want to say, like, it's like the resources. So the tension and friction may come into, you know, do I have enough, or how do I make enough, or, you know, to what degree is my security, my sense of safety, like there's some sort of tension that, you know, surfaces around this time. It also feels like, you know, you have almost like she's pointing the sword. It's almost like someone pointing the finger or trying to like call something out or show you something. Sometimes that Page of Swords, you know, can be a little bit gossipy. It can be a little bit like information kind of traveling and making its way. So you hear something, you become aware of something, something comes to light. So that's also quite strong in that early part of November. But look, you know, we know the intensity, the sort of firework energy that's going to be around us that first part of the month. And, you know, November is very much about perspective. It's also about, where do you find sanctuary? Where are you able to seek out that sense of refuge within you? You know, there's going to be consistently these waves that come through that more and more feel like they're getting higher or have more velocity, more force, more capacity to come in and cause kind of discord and upheaval in our world. And, you know, this is perhaps where I see you kind of almost saying, like, I don't know how to deal with this. Like, I don't know what to do with this, but it almost feels to me like you also get what you need when you need it through the month of November in a really significant way. there's a resourcefulness to you, an adaptability to you that I think you can call upon in the times that you're going to need it. I think that there's also a sense of, November feeling like there's a lot of work to do, there's a lot to say, and there's a lot that you're communicating. And I think you're doing it very effectively, and you're doing it quite balanced. There's a groundedness actually when we look at the combination of these two to get your point across, and I think that also serves you in a very powerful way. Now, we will of course welcome 1111 portal, and the same day Venus moves into Capricorn, and the strategy, the plans, the things that we are considering, particularly in regards our relationships and with what surrounds us, feels very deliberate. And so you're manifesting sort of capabilities around this time feel like they're getting reprioritized, or you're like returning to something, and there's more structure, there's more order, there's more specificity to things. You've got your Ace of Coins. This is really beautiful. Like there's something highly valuable. This is why I'm saying keep your eyes on the prize. Like this matters. This is new energy. This is the beginning of a chapter that actually holds great promise and possibility for you, but you have to take it. You have to seize it, and you have to understand the degree to which things are being lined up for you. And even whilst there may be hesitancy or doubt or this feeling of void-like energy, and even time blips, the way you're seeing and feeling energy is just so different at the moment. But, through it all sort of seems to be something that cuts through and just gives you that clarity and that purpose and that knowing that it's like, yes, this is the thing, this is what matters. Now, of course, on the 12th, Saturn stations direct in Pisces, and that can absolutely afford us the results that we've been waiting to see, something that had been held back. We've learned some really tough, but incredibly valuable lessons in the journey. And there's now this karmic clearance that can come in. Of course, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, and we're also seeing Pluto coming out of Capricorn on the 19th. So that, very intense energy is really drawing a line, and sort of we're feeling into what that means and what's coming next. And it will feel very different to you. You'll perhaps experience huge moments of closure in your life, or patterns realized, teachings kind of really landing for you in a I suppose I want to say a sobering way, but also in a very cathartic, helpful way for you as well. The full moon Taurus coming in on the 15th feels significant. It's lighting up that second house. There feels like there's something demonstrable happening around that time that you can work with. It balances something out. There's a just outcome to a situation. Perhaps if you've got any kind of legal matters going on, there feels like there's something quite favourable. There's reset energy everywhere right now, and this does afford you an opportune time, particularly with Saturn just moving direct, to kind of really pay heed, but also like take advantage and use that window of opportunity to kind of set yourself up with a new foundation of something. You're seeking balance and you're seeking harmony in regards to something, but that requires you to understand that there's never going to be a time when there will be an absence of fear, right? Even if you overcome one fear, it's replaced with another. And so if that's the reality, then what we can really show up with was an understanding that, like the old phrase says, right? Feel the fear and do it anyway. There's something that you need to say yes. There's an action that needs to happen. There's a realization that needs to be directed into something that brings about a fundamental change for you, okay? But I like how the energy of communication opens up favorably in some way, shape or form for you to see, I think, around that full moon in Taurus, how something can work, how something can happen, and actually the sustainability, and I suppose if you want to say like the viability of something, okay? The 19th, of course, we're drawing a line. Pluto comes out of Capricorn. We move into this age of Aquarius. Where did it hit for you? What have you really kind of leaned into since back in 2008? There's this acceptance, that 10th house was really lit up for you, right? Your career, your purpose, how you're seen in the world, your reputation, legacy, perhaps directly relationships in the soul family specifically connected into. you know, how that has affected you through wound energy in your own personal relationships. There's a lot that's transpired, but I just feel like you're really at this point when you're like, I'm okay. Like, I'm just okay to sort of say that I feel I've done the work here and I'm now leaning into something very different. There feels like a different set of considerations and priorities. Now, I want to say to you, like, the whole room right now as I'm doing your reading is just filled with the most beautiful angelic energy. You have a beautiful guardian angel that's really overseeing your path this month. We've got the King of Wands. You know, maybe this is somebody in spirit. Maybe it's even like an earth angel that's around you, and somebody that again just feels like they're helping all of this to come together, something to come together, or for you to be able to see or to realize, comprehend something. But they come in with a really strong protective energy, and that's really beautiful, because if you're going to hold that courage, if you're going to have the courage to do something, then you're going to need that just extra little bit of energetic support, I think, through the course of November, and I feel it showing up for you. Now, when we talk about zoning in with Scorpio energy and the intensity and the opportunity to transform and metamorphosize something, we then talk in Sagittarius season about us zoning out, the bigger picture. And as the sun shifts into the sign, your King of Wands is also bringing that fortitude and that intuitive knowing, that gut instinct, that resourcefulness. Again, in fact, between the two, your resourcefulness is actually off the chart this month, Aries. So if you're looking directly at something, and particularly on paper, and this is what I'm going to say to you, right? Not that I'm encouraging you not to be practical and you know, not sensible or you know whatnot, but you know, sometimes when you put something on paper and it makes no logical sense and you're like, this is never going to work, but somehow it manages to work. And if you track back in your life, you can almost like identify those moments when that's happened, right? It's like, this shouldn't have worked, this shouldn't have happened, and yet it did. It's kind of a bit of like that. So there's a resourcefulness here and a tenacity that you bring to situations that says, I don't know if I'm ready, I'm not sure how this is going to work, but like I said to you, it's like all this preparation energy is coming forth, right, to help you in this moment. And I do see you ending up in a position or being able to pull something off that feels in some ways perhaps remarkable, right? Now, we need to be mindful that Mercury is going to be in shadow from the 7th actually, but goes retrogrades on the 25th in Sagittarius. You know, we track back, we revisit things, we are really reminded of how much can get lost in translation. You know, Jupiter retrograde in Gemini is already talking to us about how we process information. This is why I'm saying November is so much about perspective. Yeah, you can completely rewrite history. You can change everything just by what you decide it means, right? And so there's a calling out and a mindfulness, you know, from your guides to just say, hey, careful what you make this mean. Okay, you know, just kind of hold space, I think, is the best way to deal with this. Right now, we do have the second new moon in Sagittarius arriving on the 30th, and we've also got Pallas Athena moving into Capricorn that day. So again, plans and strategies, you know, are getting this impetus and this sort of this focus, this sort of goal-orientated belief at the steps that need to be put in place to make something happen. But it's perhaps that bigger picture as well that you're working towards. Now look, you're claiming and you're grasping this wand and you're holding it tightly. You're kind of like, I'm not letting this go. Now you've got these two aces. You've got this resourcefulness and this tenacity. You've got the ability to be able to communicate very effectively through the course of this month and to have things coming good for you and working with you. So how do you want to use that energy? Where do you need to apply this? Because this is all what is available for you to tap into based on the inner work, your triggers, you know, where you're, you know, investing your energy. You know, there's all of these things that will come into effect to influence how much you can receive what we're picking up here. So I would be early on in the month with 2 new moons happening in November. Think really deliberately about what next, what matters, what are the steps I need to take, what is the big vision that I have for myself, for my family, for the collective. and think about, what is it going to take to hold true to that? Because mark my words, there will be lots of things that come in that try to distract you or to dissuade you or to, make it feel or make it appear as if it's not possible, right? So you have to believe in you. You have to bet on you. And the more you do that, the more you influence others around you, and the more you're likely to start seeing things coming up supportively for you in the realization of, I am empowered to do this, and if it's not now, then when? It's kind of this realization that there's something that has to be initiated now for you. Might not all happen tomorrow, but it matters what you put in place in the month of November for how you're setting the foundations, if you like, for how you're pre-paving, this next experience. You're going to feel everything differently this month. You're going to see everything differently this month, and that's okay. Just don't let it water down the things that you know are important to you and what really matters to you. Okay, you've got some fire in your belly this month, right? Use it. Sometimes we get these sort of windows, right? We get these moments, and I feel like you're having a moment there where it's just like you can kind of achieve anything. And I say this in November because, as we come into December, Mars goes real retrograde in Leo, fellow fire sign. It might just feel like a little bit more of the wind is taking out your sails, or you're having to track back and kind of fill in the details, or you might lose a little bit of that mojo and that life force, right? So now is the time to sort of act and direct and progress with things. You will be able to take advantage of this energy, and even just getting the seeds sown and setting the intentions is going to be powerful for you. Now, if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards we look at in the extended reading, you're going to find that we also cover a personal question and a relationship card. The links are below. We talk for another 30 minutes or so, and it's just a way to support the channel as well as receive deeper insights to the month ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify these cards and see the direction we're going to be taking this. Look at that, 8 of Wands. A lot of information, news, messages coming through. Now, please do check out my 11/11 energy activation this month to support you with your rituals, your manifestation. And my journal is shipping in November, so please take time to visit my website. If you haven't already ordered, there are pre-order offers available. This is the 3rd in my sacred trilogy of deck and book, and it's really unlike anything you'll have in your collection. It's going to be a beautiful soul companion for you, something that you're just going to want to return to in years and years to come. It's going to just be that rich source of insight and activation, mindfulness, soul soothing. It's going to hold so much resonance for you, so please take a moment to check it out. It's the season to invest in self. You can sign up for my newsletter and just be the first to hear about any offers that I've got coming out through this season as well, as I do every year. So that's over on romywiser.com. Okay, we've got another King of Wands energy coming through here. There's just a sort of dynamic quality to, what energy is around you or available to you this month that I quite like showing up. I think it's going to get you out of any kind of a stuck energy, and just sort of galvanize you a little bit. Right, let's have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle. So this is my own deck. We've got Rise and Love. We've got the Spirit Crane, Dance with the Divine. We've got Earth Medicine and Magic, Cast Their Spells, Root Energy. We've got Third Eye Energy. We've got Karmic Cause and Effect. Right, let's pull one more oracle for the month of November for Aries. What do we have here? The Cave. Retreat, time out, self-care, slow down. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll explore this in the extended reading. Have a beautiful month of November. Take care of yourself. And I'm going to see you again next time. Thanks, Aries.